the extreme southeast of Lebanon, a land of biblical hills and rugged mountain tracks. This is the common border of three countries at war. Throughout the decades, villagers, such as Ramiz Deli, have become used to living in this tinderbox.
Here, we stand precisely at the center of a border triangle, which includes Lebanon, Palestine, and Syria. Here is the border with Palestine, the Shebaa farms, and on the other side, to the north, the border with Syria. Behind this fence are the Israeli observation posts with their cameras. They are turned towards us. They can see us. They can hear what I'm telling you right now. They are certainly filming us too. Facing us, Syrians of Beit Jin village flock into Shebaa on this side through the north. If you notice there where there's a little gap, it is precisely between these two mountains that refugees cross into Lebanon.
The Shebaa farms, 40 square kilometers, occupied by Israel and claimed by Lebanon ever since the withdrawal of the Israeli army from the south in 2000. The blue line, the provisional border drawn by the UN after the 2006 war, is represented by this barrel. On these quiet hills, Israeli patrols are seen regularly. They are on alert to prevent a Hezbollah commando operation. But today, more than ever, the fragile ceasefire looks like it could break at any time. This region is now home to three powerful movements, all fiercely opposed to one another: Hezbollah, jihadist, and Israel. This is the village of Shebaa, north of the Shebaa farms, a Sunni village in Hezbollah's stronghold. Here, portraits of Saad Hariri, the Sunni leader and political enemy of Hezbollah, are everywhere. The war in neighboring Syria has brought an influx of refugees into the village. Today, there are more than 2 Syrians for each native. The village is under video surveillance. The sign indicates it's Ramiz's decision to monitor his village. With his own money, he bought 4 cameras and installed them in sensitive areas of the village.
This is one of the cameras I installed in Shebaa to warn the people that the village is under surveillance. And not only by the local police or the army, but also under electronic surveillance.
More than anywhere else in the country, the events in Arsal last month have rattled nerves here. Last August, Syrian jihadists who had infiltrated refugee camps took over the Sunni village. They abducted nearly 30 soldiers and police officers and executed 3 of them. In Shebaa, they feared the same could happen here, as befell Beit Jan, 12 kilometers away, already in the hands of Nusra Front. In this office, Ramiz has installed his equipment. He offers a cable channel subscription and a special local channel dedicated to broadcasting images of Shebaa village. It's his way of trying to get his fellow citizens to participate in the safety of their village. With his savings, Ramiz wants to do whatever he can to preserve peace in Shebaa.
What happened in Arsal terrorized people. Armed men spilled out of refugee tents and attacked the Lebanese army. We are afraid that this could happen to us. Here, people could react badly. The best thing is to keep the village under supervision day and night. At home, at night, when I see something suspicious, I call the police. If the police do not react, I warn the army. If the army does not respond, I warn municipal guards, who play an important role with their night patrols.
Every evening, municipal police patrol the village of Shebaa. Curfew was imposed on Syrians from 9 p.m. to 5 a.m. Falah, a resident of the village, is in charge of the patrol. Instructions are clear. After 9 p.m., any Syrian on the street is a potential suspect who should be interrogated.
Since the security situation deteriorated in our country, we decided to patrol to prevent the establishment of terrorist nests. These are preventative measures. They are important because this is the gateway to the south. The safety of the whole region depends on Shebaa.
They continue their patrol on foot and control passers-by. The curfew doesn't apply to Lebanese. At night, it's dark in the alleyways. Guards are divided into small groups. With flashlights and light weapons, these men will not resist long if they have to face well-organized jihadists. Yet, with so many foreigners in the village, municipal guards want to maintain a semblance of safety. At a street corner, the patrol bumps into a young Syrian.
It is 9:15. The curfew starts at 9.
We're doing this for your own safety. To protect you and all of us, we need to apply the law.
The law is the law. We are serious about it. You will go with our colleagues. You, take him, and we will continue our patrol.
The young man will be led away to the local municipality to check his identity. That night, the patrol moved on with no further incidents. On the streets of Shebaa, mules are part of everyday life. They are the only means of transport for refugees who cross steep mountains separating Lebanon from Syria, where war is raging. Back in the spring, we met Kher, a Syrian smuggler who shuttles between Beit Jan and Shebaa. At that time, the flow of refugees was impressive, as fighting raged on the other side of the border.
They call me and I meet them in the mountains halfway. When I find them, I bring them back here with their families, and we pass through army checkpoints. So far, I have transported 5,000 people into Lebanon.
But since the summer, things have changed, as the Lebanese government has officially closed its borders to refugees. The Lebanese army has erected several checkpoints at the border, making it harder for Kher to bring in more Syrians. We went to meet him again in an apartment where he lives with his wife and children.
We can't send them food anymore, and the army isn't allowing any refugees into Lebanon. However, those who wish to leave can go back home. In the event heavy clashes erupt again, there will certainly be more refugees wanting to come to Shebaa. Yet it is forbidden. I wonder how we'll get out of this situation.
Despite the strict measures in the village, we were told off the record that people are worried. Army checkpoints don't prevent jihadists from sneaking into Shebaa, and their families are already living here. People feel that with Tripoli in the north, Arsal in the east, and Shebaa in the south, the Sunni triangle covers all of Lebanon. In the evening, we meet Abu Jihad, the well-respected imam of the Abu Bakr Salafist Mosque. He has founded a charity dedicated to Syrian refugees. He takes us to meet some of the families.
We accommodate 30 families. Our primary donors are local, but we also have some from the Emirates. Hi, little one. All is well?
Tonight, despite his smiley face, Sheikh Abu Jihad is angry. The Lebanese army has denied access to Lebanon to 11 wounded Nusra Front fighters, the Syrian branch of Al-Qaeda.
We even called the Red Cross, and they told us that they were not allowed to transport them. We have even heard that 2 died from bleeding and they were left there. To be honest, we are disappointed because it's a humanitarian issue, no matter who these people are. Our only fear is that someone tries to sow discord between Shias and Sunnis. But I'm hopeful, as I'm sure that our neighbors, the Shias, do not want to be drawn into such a conflict.
The Sheikh is trying hard to appear comfortable with the situation. However, such incidents could eventually trigger violent clashes, like the ones witnessed in Tripoli and Arsal last summer. Hezbollah militants are nowhere to be seen in Shebaa. However, Hezbollah supporters parade 30 kilometers away. This morning in Nabatea is Ashura, a major Shia celebration. Hundreds of children and adults are marching to the rhythm of military chants. They declare their loyalty to the Party of God, which openly displays its military power. Supporters are confident that Hezbollah has the power to face the double threat of Israel and jihadists from Syria.
There is a danger, but we fear no one. Hezbollah is an army that can wage many fronts at a time. It can win 2, 10, even 100 battles.
The resistance is strong. It can take on several armies even more powerful than Israel or the Islamic State. With God's help, we will prevail.
Hezbollah doesn't often give interviews. However, we were able to interview Dr. Fayyad, the brother of an influential Hezbollah MP, who met us in the southern suburbs of Beirut.
We have some information that the Israelis could provide logistic and psychological support to jihadist fighters if they intend to attack Lebanon.
According to Fayyad, Israel would be allied with Al-Qaeda. It's a conspiracy theory widely spread among Hezbollah executives. Fayyad refuses to admit any weakening of the Party of God, even if it's losing a huge number of fighters on the Syrian front.
Hezbollah is fighting in Syria with its reserve forces. It fights jihadists without disrupting its state of alert against Israel.
A state of alert that is constant on the Israeli border. From his lookout, Captain Mishra is watching carefully. He's part of Sector East of UNIFIL, the UN force in charge since 2006 to enforce a ceasefire along the Blue Line.
Most event is to maintain the sanctity of Blue Line, and all the parties here are under our observations, and any unusual activity that is being seen is reported to LAF, and we work in close coordination with LAF.
Satnam, 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 Vaheguru, Vaheguru.
We have started our patrol from 4-7 Charlie, which is in the general area of Shebaa, and we are moving towards OP2, aligned to Blue Line.
Hurry up, take position. You go there, right away. Hurry up, now.
Vehicles are not armored. They only carry self-defense weapons in case of attack. It is probably from here that Hezbollah launched last month's attack, wounding 2 IDF soldiers.
We are in a patrol that is dominating the area, and this is called to be counter-rocket launching patrol. And we keep a vigilance over this area. As you see that the great patch is totally open, so here anything can be expected at any moment.
Ramez is aware of the situation. This has been his daily life for the past 20 years, and the new jihadist threat adds to the already complicated situation. However, he is resilient and decided to resume the construction of his new house for his retirement days. He is taking a risk, though. This tinderbox could blow up at any time and put an end to his dreams.